Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I am Dr. Suzette Robinson, and I'm glad to be with you on this afternoon with this wonderful professional that I have online tonight. Our topic we will be talking about, let's talk hair business. And we're going to be bringing some highlights or some information um, on helping those that's in the profession to understand how important it is to have everything placed correctly when pandemic of any kind comes, whether it's COVID-19 or whatever it may be, whatever will come in that will stop us from flowing like we normally do. So we thought it would be ideal for us to come on as professionals to speak to you all or anyone that's listening about how important it is to have all of your paperwork together. So I'm gonna let Dr. Broadnex introduce himself. There you go, Doc.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Rashawn Broadnex, and I'm here in the Washington, D.C. area, specifically located in the Northwest Corridor of Washington, D.C. I have a business. It's called TRC Beauty and Hair Replacement, where we focus on the healthy regrowth of hair using natural methods as well as hair replacement systems for both men and women, which includes your toupees, your man units, your wigs, cranials, and prosthesis, all those things that make and keep us looking absolutely beautiful when we
Yes,
may be experiencing some form of hair loss.
correct. And you know what I've noticed? A lot of people are experiencing this. We call the COVID-19 a pandemic. I call hair loss a great big pandemic.
Yeah.
It's one that's affecting everyone, including children,
Yes.
including children. And what I realize is that as a trichologist, a practitioner, we have to be positioned just right to service those that need our help. And I'm glad to know that also Dr. Broadnex is part of P2P. We could not be who we are without you, Dr. Broadnex. So we realize it's more than just being a hairstylist as usual, because we have so much that's going on that's causing us to learn more about the scalp, um, learn about diseases and how to do non-surgical hair replacement. And so during this pandemic, can you see where um, your education that you received as a hair loss practitioner is very beneficial for putting you in the position that you're in today?
Absolutely. Because one of the things that most people are experiencing is not being able to get into their hair salon or to see their hairstylist or their practitioner as they usually are. So one of the things that has been really important has been able to be knowledgeable about what's actually going on with people's scalps, what their regimens are, kind of knowing that information and being able to talk to them about it over the phone, being able to Zoom and FaceTime with them and give them the information and help keep them on track with their regimens so that when they do come back, because we've been out of the salon, I think almost 2 months now,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which can be a great length of time for a lot of people who are on strict regimens. So to keep them on track with their regimen so that when they do come back, they don't experience a great setback. We have to be very knowledgeable about what we're doing and the information, and as well as their regimens to keep them on track, basically.
You know that's key, because you know what, during this pandemic it has given me, I know, time to study some things that I normally, when business as usual, you do get a chance to study some of your case studies. But
Hmm.
during this time that I was able to sit and kind of had some, I'm not gonna say relaxed time because it's never relaxed time, it helped me to really put some time in to study the scalp disorders that we face all the time,
Hmm.
and to put more time in on learning how to treat them. And so I realized too, and one thing I am grateful for, this certification, this new place that I'm in my business, I did not miss a beat during the pandemic because still had some things I had to do. And like you were saying, we still was able to talk to some of our clients, see them on Zoom, be able to kind of still help them stay on track
Mm-hmm.
with, like you said, their regiments, and also it just helped to put things in its proper place. But I'm gonna tell you what I have also noticed. A lot of cosmetologists were having hard time adjusting to the fact that they didn't or weren't able to go into the salon.
Mm-hmm.
And so you remember we talked about being self-employed and being a business person.
Yes.
And I often ask people, which one are you? And people say, I'm self-employed. And I always tell them, self-employed, when your business stops,
Mm-hmm.
you stop. So
Right.
that means no money. So you have to learn how to position yourself to be a business person where your business will continue to roll on. Your finances will still come in while you're not in the salon.
Right.
Am I right about that?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I kind of noticed with a lot of people here in our area, in the DC area, as we found out that so many different resources had become available to business owners. When a lot of people applied for them, they were denied or told that they were not eligible. And so when we go back and they started to share, well, why, the reasons why they were not eligible, um, it was kind of disturbing to hear, that people did not have their businesses like business,
Yeah, yeah.
either did not have them, or they were not up to date, or they had not yet done their taxes. And, I understand that we're at the beginning of the year. So a lot of people said, well, I haven't done my taxes for this year, but they asked for last year and the year before. Oh, I
Okay.
didn't do it last year. Okay. And then they, asked for the year before that. Oh, I haven't done taxes in 5 years. Okay. So then what kind of business are you running? You
Or
know,
can you even call it a business?
can you call the business? Because that's one of the things that you have to do as a business person, is make sure that your paperwork is together. That's
Yes,
where your business starts. That's the foundation of your business.
correct.
So, to talk to a lot of people and to then have to kind of, draw on some of the information that I have. Okay, well, then this is what you need to do. These are the places you need to go. And you got to do it quick because these places are getting ready to shut down. You got to try to get this stuff and get it going. Thank goodness that our Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs here, through the great leadership of our director, has decided to put so many of those the paperwork uh, online. A lot of the applications are online, so people were able to still file for things without having to go in, because before you had to go in, you had to give them all this paperwork, you had to
That's right.
show them that in order to get a business license. Now you were able to do it online, so a lot of people were able to process things online, and then of course talk to their tax preparers and do things like that to try to help themselves get into a better situation.
So you could look at this pandemic and say, it's some good came out of it. If you applied, if you don't have stuff, and like you were saying, everything is being made available for us now.
Mm-hmm.
So and my thing is, if you're not, haven't gotten your business legitimized,
Yeah,
then now is a good time to get it, because first
absolutely.
and foremost, it's a bad thing that when you going through something and you need funds to keep afloat and you can't get a dime
Yes.
because you find out you're not eligible for anything because of your lack. And I've been like that, Dr. Broadnax. When I first started my business, I was so excited about I just, I was just glad to be working. When I realized how much money you could make, I was like, oh yeah. And I was making money hand over fist but I had nothing to show for it because I I didn't save. I spent I spent so much. I spent time to get in my hand.
Hmm.
Didn't pay attention. Oh, I got time to get taxes. I got time to do this.
Right.
And all that will catch up with you.
Yes.
And it's a sad thing because if you're going to be a business, be a real business. Get your stuff together, get your paperwork together. Some people say, I can't afford. You cannot afford not to do it.
Exactly. And that's what we have to realize. You know, and I say that I was having a conversation with someone and we were talking about just that very fact of establishing your business. And, you know, my take on it is the unfortunate part is I think in our cultural
Okay.
sector of the business,
Yeah.
we are not really taught that. And when we're taught it, it's not really impressed on us to do. So we go into, you know, we get our license, you know, we so like you said, I'm so happy to work.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm going in the salon. I'm just happy to be in the salon. And I'm happy to twirl my curlers and do what I'm doing and make that money.
Yeah.
But I don't think ahead, you know,
Right.
and those business practices are not put in place. Um, so we kind of skip and skate over it. And we don't realize the detriment until we fall into these positions where
Absolutely.
we need money or we want to buy a car
Yeah.
and you know
That's good.
and the car dealer says to us, oh, okay, well, let me have your pay stubs. Oh, well, I work for myself, you know. Okay, well, I need some form of you showing me that you make this money, not
Yeah.
that you just came in here with a bag full of money, but I need you to show because you asking me for financing
Uh-huh.
or when I'm ready to buy that house.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they say, okay, well, how do I know you can afford this mortgage? Well, I got this money in my suitcase. No. So you have to have your paperwork and stuff in
Yeah.
order ahead of time. And these
Ahead of
are things
time.
that I think we have to really think of. And that's why one of the main I guess, joys for me in working in the school sector for so long is to
Hmm.
be able to really impress on the youth of our industry the importance of certain things,
Right.
you know, before they got too far into the industry and into the business where those things were left behind.
And you know what I was thinking since you said that from an educator standpoint, there are certain things that I think need to be implemented when you're going through cosmetology school
Mhm,
that you need to learn. Now,
mhm,
I think um, during the time I was working for other people teaching in their school,
mhm,
it was a lot of little important things that I felt should have been in that cosmetology book that they really need to learn because we've been in the business for I know I've been in for 30 plus years.
mhm.
Okay. So I've seen so much changes in our business or in our I can't even find the word, but in our business, in our industry.
Mhm.
And but one thing I see that's missing that's most valuable is understanding how to, before you get out of school, before you get those licenses and start working, and whether you work in a salon or, I don't know if people still do commission or booth rent or whatever. Even in booth rent and all of that, they need to know you are a business.
Mhm.
If you're paying booth rent, you're a business. And
Mhm.
you need to be set up as such. And so, but if they don't know that, if it's not taught, I think in the book, it kind of goes a little bit, but it don't like go into details. That
Mhm.
in my opinion, needs to be a class.
Well, I'll tell you this in depending on what book they're being taught from. So
Okay. Okay.
the book that we used in school was the Milady Standard.
Yeah.
And so in under the Milady Standard, they have a whole chapter devoted to
Okay.
business. It's called Salon Business. Now the thing is, um, like many of the other chapters, I find w- for some educators, well, put it this way, as an educator, as important as a topic is to us, is how we teach it.
Absolutely. I like that. Mhm.
So if you really feel that it's really important, when that particular chapter comes up, you put all your all into it. If
Right.
it's something that I wouldn't say that an educator would feel that it's not important, but if you have an educator that has not been in the behind the chair working in the salon,
Gotcha. Yeah.
their view of salon business and what makes up salon business is a little different.
Yeah.
So, I would say for some things, like the school that I was in, we always really taught in our senior level where that chapter was taught. We pretty much always had a teacher that was actually still working in the salon. So they kind of knew how important it was. And they would draw on their personal experiences of, well, this happened to me. This is why I needed to have this piece of information. This is why I had to have that license. When you have the person that says, oh, I just want to finish schooling and I'm going to go work right into the salon. Yeah, that's fine. But when the inspector comes in, you need to have what the inspector wants to see, which is number one, that license. So they're able to draw on those personal experiences and give them to the student as, this is where you need to go. And if you do not, this is what will happen to you.
Right. Now, you
So
know what? I love what you just said, though. And then, too, even in salons, I think continual education is
oh, absolutely.
really valuable. You and I, we still take classes and
Mhm.
still turn in homework. We still do all of that because I think on each level, you can never learn too much. You can never say, well, I got it all. You never will have it all because things are always changing. Um, Even after this pandemic, the way we've done business, it's going to change.
Change, absolutely.
It's going to change, or it should change. I'm going to say that.
Well, put
Um,
it this way, it will definitely change because even if we don't change, our clients are going to expect something different.
yes,
I don't believe that any client is going to come back into the salon expecting things to pick up where they left off because their lives are different. So they're going to look at it from their standpoint of these are the things that I now have to do. I have to walk around with my mask. And if you come in the salon and you like, hey, you like, they're like, well, where's your mask?
yeah,
What's going on? Why are you not wiping things down? So they know that life is different and we have to adapt to that.
yeah. And I think it's good though. To be frank, um, sanitation, sterilization is something we were supposed to be doing all the time anyway. Now, I think, now going back to the mask part, I think you're right. Since we're asking them to come in covered up, we need to be the same way. Because you want to make them feel secure when they come into your facility to get whatever services you want to do.
Hmm.
And I think this should kind of make us all wake up and tighten up,
Hmm.
revisit sterilization, sanitation. Sometimes you have to go back. Now, I'm going to laugh. I was going to show you my book, but it's just so old. I'm not going to do that. I still have my book from when I first started in cosmetology.
Okay.
And when I started teaching, I took my book to class one time. I was teaching in Midfield one time. And I just decided I'm going to put my book in the car. I just wanted to show them how different my book looked to theirs. I brought that book in, they laughed so hard.
Hmm.
I said, okay, funny as it may be, when I started, we didn't dress like you all.
Hmm.
We had to wear all white.
Okay.
I mean, nurse shoes, we were dressed from top to bottom.
Hmm.
But putting that on gave us a sense of importance. It gave us a sense of awareness that what we were doing was, it was just so,
Very
it just,
important.
yeah, like when me and you put on our coats, our
Yeah.
lab coats, and we have to go in and work with those clients, it's a respect we have for ourselves and our clients.
Yes.
Okay. And so they said, well, Dr. Robinson, we ain't got to wear all that now. I get that. I get it, you don't, but you need to. whatever school you're in and they select a uniform for you, you need to wear it with pride, you know? And there's nothing wrong with going back to standards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm right with you with that. As you were talking, my mind started to go back to
Got a slight delay. It's coming back. Let's get Dr. Broad.
that uniform was just always nice and crisp and white and clean. And you did get a certain level of respect from people who didn't know absolutely what you did. You know, I would get on the train and people would say, "Oh, you know, do you work in a hospital?" And I would say, "No, I'm a beauty school student." And they were like, "Really?" And that was the respect that would start to be built from people realizing that this is how you dress when you're just going to school, you know? And so I think that, in my opinion, most schools should adopt that
I
because
should think
it
so.
builds a level of pride within yourself, you
And
know?
you know what? I like that. I really do. It's just like with P2P. When we have our classes, we all have on our lab coats.
Mhm.
And it just gives you a sense of respect for yourself. And I
Mhm.
tell each student, you should respect your coat. Like when we were NBCL and we have the
Absolutely.
white coat ceremony, that was so phenomenal for me because just doing the white coat ceremony was getting our minds ready for
Yes.
what was to come.
Right.
Okay. And so talking to other cosmetologists, whether it be a barber or whatever, when you have respect for your industry and what you're doing, people have respect for you. But
Absolutely.
if you don't respect yourself, you can't expect people to come in and respect that. I mean, you know.
And you
Yeah.
know what? I'm glad you brought up that point because I was talking to someone. We were kind of laughing last week about respecting the industry and you know how to rebuild the respect of the industry. And so I said, in order for that to happen, we first have to respect it as persons within the industry, and then we make other people respect it.
Absolutely.
The major issue that we're experiencing now is the lack of the respect for the industry from a lot of outside persons because they look at how we treat it and then they look at how others treat it. And so I said, one of the major issues that I have is I know that a lot of people, they work from home, which is great. You know, everybody is not able, we're all at different stages in life and or levels in our industry. So you may be a person that works in home, but have your home-based business.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
we're not sitting on the porch doing hair anymore.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean? We're not just in the kitchen doing hair
Okay.
because we like doing it and we know how. But if that's what you want to do, you want to be properly trained. And I likened it to if you saw a doctor at home or you knew your neighbor was in there performing surgeries in their kitchen or in their living room, would not you call somebody and say something's going on that's not right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a doctor would do that. One doctor knew that somebody else was doing that, they would call.
Yeah, they
I would
would.
say the same. I'm not telling call on everybody, but what I'm saying is you have to make people respect the industry. So if you see somebody that say they're at home doing hair, you talk to that person. You say, well, you know what, you do a phenomenal job, but why don't you set yourself up as a legitimate business and really make this work for you? Send yourself to school, make
Yeah.
yourself get a license to actually do this so that you can be a professional within the industry and not as we call them kitchen beautician, bootleggers, and everything else. You
Yeah.
don't want to be that. Make yourself a professional within the industry, and so that people will respect you as such. Because to those people who are doing those things, you wonder why people only want to pay you so much.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
say, well, I'm sitting in your kitchen. Well, you putting my head in your sink. It doesn't matter, you know, and it took me a while to learn this as well. I've washed many a person's head in their kitchen sink. And my thought was, oh my goodness, I'm washing their hair in their sink. You know, if my rate is $100, they're going to want to charge me, they want to pay me $60. And these people told me, absolutely not. If anything, you have packed up your business and brought it to me. So whether you wash my hair in my kitchen sink, or you wash it in my bathtub or in my bathroom sink, you are a business that has come to me to provide a service, and now I have to pay you more because you've
Ah,
packed up to come to me. You see what I'm saying? But that's where when people look at you as a legitimate business
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
not just somebody that's doing.
Yeah. Now see, I have some clients that can't come
Hmm.
and you have to go to them.
Right.
And like you said, if you set up like a business, people
Hmm.
will respect your business. And um, there are times you do have to pack up and say, "Well, listen, she can't come in. There's
Exactly.
no way she can get in here. I'm gonna, I'm going to go to her."
Hmm.
But she understands. Well, Suzette run a real business. I got to
Exactly.
pay her for the gas for her coming out here because they
Hmm.
appreciate the fact that you came.
Right.
And so that changes. And that's why we're trying to hammer in how important it is to get your business or make it a
Make it
real
big.
live
Right.
business. And this is another thing I want to bring up since we're talking hair business. When it comes to us um, respecting each other as a business of color, somewhere down the line we have gotten this mentality that I'm not supposed to pay you what you ask. I'm gonna always ask for I'm gonna always ask for the family discount, just family, the friend, you name it, you know. Well, Suzette, I ain't hardly got no money. But that happens. And I'm gonna tell you, that comes out of disrespect.
Hmm.
That's disrespect of our businesses, um, of what we can do.
Hmm.
It takes time to fix some of these wigs we have to fix, and um, style this hair that's unmanageable. Just so much we have to do, and we put our heart into it.
Hmm.
And so when I talk to other cosmetologists and they say to me, "Well, what I do? I mean, I'm tired of them saying, as in, you're gonna have that. That's gonna happen." But whatever you charge or whatever you say, make sure that what you do is up to level with what you're charging.
Yes. Yes.
My grandson, okay, he want to speak. I'm gonna let him speak.
I,
He just eased up on me. But first and foremost, okay, he said, "Hey, now you got to go over there."
he said, "What you doing over there?"
It's not that I want to be in. But you know what? First and foremost, it's important that we present ourselves in such a way,
Mhm.
and whatever you charge, make sure your work. That's why we still do classes. We do classes so we can sharpen our skills and be able to do things a little bit better. And you know, and
Mhm.
you got to know your worth.
Right.
Got to know your worth.
Mhm.
Anything you want to say on that?
Absolutely. Oh, I have a lot to say on that. You know, and I think because that's a touchy subject, or it can be, because a lot of people don't really know their worth, and I think that's where it starts. And
Okay.
so we again culturally we feel like we always want a deal. We want a discount. And as the business person, that becomes difficult for us because we grow up and we see that all the time, but then we think again, this is my cousin, my auntie, my sister, whoever,
Yeah.
I got to give them a discount. But I had someone who said to me, Dr. Robinson, she called me and said one time, I'm going to stop giving family discounts. And I said, why? And she said, why not?
Mm.
And I said, okay, but I don't understand what you're saying now. She said, but why not? Why do we give family a discount? What's the purpose of that?
Wow.
Have
Okay.
a business. And I thought about that and I said, well, the only reason really to give the family discount is because they're your family. But she said, but what business sense does that make? And I said, that was the key. So just because a person is your family or a friend or what have you, you don't always have to offer them the discount. And they're not always, what's the word? They're not always, they don't always need to get the discount. You can give it to them every now and then, but it doesn't have to be a consistent thing. Unless your business is set up that way where you can afford to do that, you know. But in terms of pricing,
Yeah.
that to me is something that you grow to. You decide. We all start at I say like the junior stylist level. We just starting in the business. We're trying to grow our clientele. We don't want to beat people over the head with the price. We want to give them something that's affordable, that's eye catching, to make them come in.
Right.
But then at what point do you start to elevate your price? That's where your education comes in. You let
Absolutely.
your clients start seeing you become more educated beyond just getting schooling to get your license. That sets the precedent in their mind for them to say, okay, this person is continuously learning. If I want to be connected to a stylist that's continuously learning, they have to pay for that. We continue to pay for it. And then it becomes more than, oh, I'm just paying to go get my hair fixed. I'm paying for education.
Yes.
You see
Yes.
what I'm saying? And then that's where your pricing starts to escalate, because that's where, I'll say for me, it just was a long road before I felt that I really knew how much I was worth. It took other people to tell me how much I was worth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I started to say, oh, okay. And then I was able to say, well, you know what? You can't charge, X amount of dollars for this service. You've been charging that for the past 6 years. It's got to go up a little bit because your bills have gone up, your rent
True.
has gone up, your gas has gone up, your price on the product has gone up. You can't charge the same amount because eventually you start to lose.
Now
And
you're
so
right.
to be able to continue to grow as a business, you have to start incrementally increasing your pricing. But again, that starts with knowing how much you're worth from the beginning.
Now you know what? That's to me, you couldn't have said it any plainer, because a lot of times when you start out, you don't know what you're worth.
Mm-hmm.
And through the years, as you learn about your industry or whatever it is that you're trying to perfect or trying to become a specialist in, then you start seeing how it all shapes up. I
Mm-hmm.
think that we're on a road of great um, recovery for our
Mm-hmm.
industry. And I would certainly like to do a topic on how to encourage them,
Mm-hmm.
those that are watching, on how to really encourage them to take a hold of their business and make it be a business. So we're certainly not through with this topic, because I think next week we can kind of hit maybe a little bit more, maybe go into details, or maybe I can get some people to call in or whatever, and we can answer some questions. Would you like to do that, Dr.
Sure.
Brocknett?
Absolutely.
I think we need to hit this again, because, and maybe we even need to talk to them about how they can get educated, and if they're looking to move into the hair loss business or something on that nature, or doing the medical weeks or whatever. Sometimes people don't know what's available for them, so we can kind of,
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can provide that type of guidance.
so I think next week we're going to come back on our live on next Tuesday, if you want to,
Sure.
and we can kind of have some information that we can give them that will possibly help them expand their business to a whole nother level. What do you think?
I think that would be great because, like you said, most people, one of my feelings is people don't do often because they just don't know. And
Mhm.
so, in terms of continuing education and growing and making your business better, to have some resources or have some ways and avenues to point people down to do that would be really advantageous for a lot of people. I know definitely in our area, there's a lot of things for people to do, but they're not spoken about very loudly, I'll say.
Okay.
So some people know about them, but a whole lot of people don't, and to be able to get that kind of information out to people would be great. So I think we could definitely do that.
Okay, that sounds magnificent. So I'm going to say this. Again, Dr. Broadnax is one of our exceptional. He came in on the P2P. He's taking the classes. He's certified. He's ready to jumpstart his hair replacement clinical. So we're excited about that, and we're just on here to share what we know and what we do to help someone expand their business. So we'll be talking about a lot of things. If you all have any question about wig making and you want to take a class, Dr. Broadnax is the person you would need to speak with. I'm sure he will share that and how you can get in touch with him and stuff like that. So we're going to make sure the information is available for people that need it. I am Dr. Suzette Robinson. This is Dr. Rashawn Broadnax. He will tell you how you can reach him, but you can come back on our live on next week and have your questions ready so we can answer them. If you're experiencing some type of scalp irritation or something, we can even talk about that. So please get in touch with us. I always give you all my P2P information 7@gmail.com. You can send your questions, inquiries, any topics that we haven't talked about that you're interested in knowing. I know someone out there has some questions
Absolutely.
and we want to answer them. So, Dr. Broadnax, you can tell them how to contact you. Somebody may want to ask you something about wig making or anything of that nature, because we're going to kind of give them enough of information where they can. This is a place where you can get the education that you need. We do have a way that you can take online classes.
Mhm.
We're excited and very proud of it. And like I said, he's in the DC area. You can contact him. I'm here in the state of Alabama. We have others that's coming on that's in different states, so you can talk to them. But I just want you all to know there is no reason for us not to be successful in our business because so much is there for us. But
Mhm.
like Dr. Broadnax said, if you don't know, you don't know. So, Dr. Broadnax, would you like to tell them how to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So I would invite everyone, first and foremost, to join us again here on the live. That will be the primary way that you can get in contact with us. And we would be so appreciative of that. But if you wanted to reach me directly, you can visit my website, which is www.theredchr.com. It stands for The Red Chair. Chair is abbreviated, so it's TheRedChr.com. You can email me directly at Rashawn at theredchr.com. Or you can Facebook me. I'm on Instagram under it's Dr. B _ TRC. I can field questions that way. You can send me pictures. We can talk about various things. I do offer wig making education here in the area. I'm in the Southwest market of DC. I do provide education on the standard wig making by hand, standard sewing machine, as well as the industrial sewing machine. So you have 3 different levels of course that coursework that you can take with me in terms of constructing your units. And I would say, you know, all three of those are phenomenal. Some people work much better by hand. Some people work much better using a machine. I love the machine. It is quick, it is easy, but it also makes your units a lot more durable. So I look forward to sharing that information with people. And I do invite them to, you know, inquire, just ask questions about the classes. I'm very free with the information.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and we just look forward to seeing you again here next week. Do not be late. 6,
Please tell them what time was it? 6 Central Time.
yes, 6 Central Time, 7 Eastern Time.
And we're excited. We're looking forward to doing more and more educational classes and things that will help us to grow, grow, grow. So we're excited. And once again, thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. And we'll see you again.
Yes.
Yeah.